Welcome all to Spotlight Sessions, where we shine a light on incredible organizations and the work that they do. I am your host, Josh Basil. I'm a C4-5 quadriplegic, paralyzed below my shoulders, and a passionate disability rights advocate, focusing on breaking down barriers to access and inclusion for people with disabilities. We're going to learn more about the Turnstone Center, and we have Tina and Stasha with us today. Welcome. I'm so happy that both of you are here.
Thanks for inviting us to be part of this.
Absolutely. Tina, I want to start with you. Tell me a little bit more about yourself.
Okay, my name's Tina Acosta, and I've been here at Turnstone. I'm working on my 20th year. So I've served quite a few roles here as Director of Adult Day Services, Director of Sports and Recreation, and now currently in my role as Director of Program Outreach. And I have my educational background is in therapeutic recreation, so I'm currently a certified therapeutic recreation specialist.
That's awesome. And Stasha, tell me a little bit about yourself.
Sure. For as long as Tina has been here, I'm glad she's on my team because I have only been with Turnstone for about 3.5 years, which feels like just a blink compared to Tina's tenure. But it's great that we're able to work together on a lot of this outreach and advocacy work. My background is mostly in nonprofit professionally. It's just where I feel like I'm wired to be at. And for me, the draw with that is that I love serving our community. I love connecting with people and their stories. And for me also, what's really drawn me in here at Turnstone is just this concept of empowerment and what that looks like for individuals, what that looks like for communities, and the change that can be made for better on a local and a global scale when you can embrace an approach like that. I am the Chief Marketing Technology Officer here at Turnstone. We have a small but mighty team that does a lot of the branding and storytelling on behalf of the organization and our clients. And there is never a dull day. That's for certain.
I love that. And so tell me more about the community that you serve. Who are the different people that you serve?
So Turnstone started as an organization in 1943 to specifically serve children with physical disabilities that weren't able to access the school system at that time. But it has really evolved over the last 78 or so years in not only the programs and services that we provide, but the population that we serve. So today we serve children and adults with disabilities, and that includes physical, visual, neurological, and developmental. And from an inclusive perspective, we have many services that serve individuals in our community that may not have a stereotypical diagnosis of a disability, but require some sort of adaptive service or support to be able to live their life in the fullest way and maybe in the most active and healthy way. We have a wide spectrum of individuals that we serve all of our programs.
You guys, it just sounds like you're doing such good work. I love it. Tina, tell me more about your day-to-day role within.
One of the things I like about my job is that every day is different. So I work different hours depending on what's going on. Some of the main things that I do is I market Turnstone. So I find ways to get out into the community or through social media to just educate the community about what we do here at Turnstone. And I also do a lot of advocacy work. I work with a lot of the colleges in their different classrooms, just bringing them up to speed on what we do here at Turnstone, but also talking with them about what they're doing, what they plan to do in their profession, and how they can be more effective in working with people with disabilities. So we talk about disability awareness, we talk about effective communication, and we talk about what does it mean to have a disability and how can they be working to help advocate for people with disabilities. So I usually, after I'm finished, I always tell people, now you're an ambassador for Turnstone. So go out there and tell someone about what we do, because we always find that people don't know what we do, but I think it's just because they haven't needed our services. And then also I'm an ADA coordinator. I got my certification last year. So I get the chance to work with different groups of people, whether it's a business that's wanting to do some renovations or working with their staff to be more customer friendly, just wanting to know how they can go over and above the ADA and serving people with disabilities. So I always love when we get calls like that. to where we can help just highlight what the ADA is and how it can be helpful to businesses.
That's awesome. And Stasha, what about your day-to-day?
I think just to give some context to what Tina and I do, not just what we do, but how we're supporting the organization. I want to back up just a little bit and list out really a lot of the programs and services we provide. So as I mentioned before, we started as a schooling option for children with disabilities. We've kept an element of that within our service menu currently. So we have an inclusive early learning center for ages 2 through 5 that serves children with and without disabilities and really focuses on kindergarten readiness. We have pediatric and adult occupational therapy, physical therapy, physical aquatic therapy, speech therapy, and recreation therapy. We have an incredible social services team that really serves as a starting point for not only our clients, but also a resource for our community. So they'll connect individuals with services within Turnstone, but also within some of our partner organizations in the community, depending on what needs they have. And in that same vein, we also offer counseling for our clients, their families, but also individuals in the community that might need some counseling support for any number of reasons. We have an adult day service program as well as a memory care program. We also offer an inclusive fitness center that provides access to adaptive fitness equipment as well as fitness specialists who are specialized in adapting fitness routines for individuals on a number of spectrum, depending on what kind of adaptation they might need to be able to work on their fitness goals. And you'll often see individuals graduate out of our therapy services and move into fitness for more of an independent fitness maintenance approach. And then you can also move into our adaptive sports and recreation program. That just provides a lot of adaptive experiences from sports to crafts, mostly sports, but there's a wide variety of options offered through that adaptive sports and rec program. And then also into our competitive sports space. So I think we've got 10 or 11 competitive sports teams that train here at Turnstone. We have wheelchair basketball, we have sled hockey, wheelchair rugby, adaptive track and field. Certainly our men's and women's USA goalball team that trains here. That's part of our involvement with the Olympic and Paralympic movement as one of 11 Olympic and Paralympic training centers in the country. So when we talk about the spectrum, you've got it all here. We've got all ages, all human life experiences, a number of disabilities, if you want to really get into categories there, really focusing on taking it back to our mission of helping people achieve their highest potential. And that looks different for everybody and what their life goals are and what their interests are, which partially explains the wide variety of services that we have here. So
I'd say a wide variety and a whole lot of variety. That's it.
Yes.
It's incredible what you guys do. I was just, as you kept on going on and on, I'm just like, you guys are awesome and such a valuable community service and everything that you do to educate and empower. It's just, it's powerful. It's life-changing.
It's sort of like a one-stop shopping because we could serve someone through their entire lifetime here by the services that we offer. And our tagline that I love to share with people is that we create possibilities for people. And we do that every day. And that started back in 1943 when those women created the possibility for children with physical disabilities to get an education. And that's one of the great things that we get to be involved in every day.
So what is an achievement with those possibilities? I'd love to hear a story of something awesome that the center did to transform someone's life.
I can share a story that happened a few years ago. I got involved because the physical therapist wanted me to come down and videotape one of the clients that she was working with. And this was someone who had a stroke right after he retired, and his daughter was getting married, and he wanted to be able to walk his daughter down the aisle. But he also had short-term memory loss, so he couldn't remember the progress that he was making. So I went down and videotaped him through several sessions so that we could show it back to him so he could see the progress that he was making. And when he was finished, he was able to walk his daughter down the aisle, that was his goal. when he came here was to be able to walk her down the aisle of her wedding.
And I love the fact that with you and through your help, it's just he was able to achieve that goal, that dream, and that possibility of walking his daughter down the aisle. That is awesome. And Stasha, tell me a favorite accomplishment of yours over the years at Turnstone.
And I were chatting before getting on here, trying to figure out. We could talk for hours about Turnstone, obviously. We have enough going on here to fill any number of these conversations and segments. So really trying to hone in on an accomplishment that we've been a part of here at Turnstone. One of the experiences that really jumps out to us is a recent campaign we completed and video that we launched earlier this year. So here in Indiana, March is Disability Awareness Month, and we really take that month to focus on the systemic advocacy portion of what our team does. And that's really just elevating the voices of our clients, elevating the importance of not only diversity and inclusion, but just simply respect and valuing differences in all of us. And so each year that looks different. This year, we focused on this messaging that first, we are all people, regardless of what your life experience is. That is the foundational commonality that we all share. We are all people, and we all want to be seen as people, first and foremost, and treated as people, first and foremost, nothing more, nothing less. And so we were able to really feature several individuals that have utilized services here at Turnstone, and we just talked about how they want to be seen in the community. What do they want their legacy to be? How do they want the people that they come across to remember them? What do they want to contribute to their friendships and their circles and their employers? And what does that look like for them? And we capped off the month with releasing a video, the First People video. And this video, I think it honestly is why this campaign felt like an accomplishment for us, because the video really focused on sharing basic information on what it looks like to interact with and communicate respectfully with someone who has a disability. Because I think a lot of people overthink it, and overthinking it, get afraid. And then in being afraid, they avoid it or unintentionally botch it up, or just start thinking that because they're afraid of something, that means that something must be bad. And it really comes down to overthinking it, because again, we wanted people to understand, just be respectful, just take a deep breath. And the way we approached the video is we actually had many of our clients sharing this information. So it was directly from people with disabilities saying how they want to be communicated with. And a lot of times it was just talk to me, look me in the eye and talk to me, say hi, questions. It's okay. Whatever you say is going to be fine. We know we don't expect anything from you other than the respect, because first, we're all people, and that's what we just have to understand. And the response we received from that video was incredible. It received and continues to grow in its viewer count, but has reached international views. And we've received requests from across the country to have access to the video, particularly from individuals who are working on ADA outreach, disability education, disability awareness. But to me, I think what was most meaningful was we had individuals with disabilities telling us, yes, this is what I want people to know. Yes, this is what I wish people would do. Or loved ones, family members of someone with a disability saying, yes, I wish people would listen to this, because this is how we want our loved one to be interacted with. Or we had board members who are all in on the concept of diversity, inclusion, empowerment, all of the things, saying, wow, I learned something from that video. I've done X all of these years and I really shouldn't be. And it really put things into perspective. And I think that it was very rewarding to know that we were able to put information out there that started conversations and opened people's eyes, and will be something that continues to push forward this movement of embracing all people with all abilities, because we're all people.
When I watched the video for the first time this summer, and I just remember watching every single different voice, and I was just like, this organization, they get it, and they're allowing the community to speak disability. And by understanding that each voice is a little bit different, each voice has a different story, a different ability, a different way of interacting. And living independently and productively. And it's just, I love that video so much. And thank you for making that. Because I think anybody that watches that video, it changes you, and you guys rock that out. So thank you for that. I'd love to know more, Tina. What does accessibility mean to an organization like yours that impacts so many different types of disabilities and abilities?
I think for us, I think accessibility means just making the community aware of everything that's involved with accessibility. And it's really what we're trying to do is in the end, we want people with disabilities to be able to acquire, engage, and enjoy the same things as people without disabilities. I think when we say the word accessibility, a lot of people think of curb ramps or grab bars. And what we want people to know that it's so much more than that. And this video that we did is a great tool that we can use for accessibility, because, what we're trying to get people to understand, as just what Stasha said, is that people with disabilities are people first, and they want to have equality, and they want to be able to do the same things that we're doing, that people without disabilities, and they want to do it with about the same effort and the same energy. And I think that's what we're promoting with the community, is that there's a lot involved, and we want people to get involved and to be able to ask those questions. How can I do more?
Stacy, you go on.
Oh, no, I was just going to say, not to reiterate some of my previous comments, but again, I think people overthink it, or they get really intimidated by this big ADA conversation. But when it comes down to it, accessibility is about respect, and it's about valuing the people in your community. And to Tina's point, it's just so important for people to understand that if you are not considering the full spectrum of the human experience in your business, in your day-to-day life, then you are not valuing those human experiences. And so when it comes down to whether it's curb cuts or whether it's readable material, whether it's being able to access websites easily, that many people take that for granted, whatever that accessibility platform is, it all comes down to respecting the broad spectrum of human life experience and what that looks like from a diverse standpoint, and just making sure that all people, as many people as possible, are able to enjoy your content, enjoy your service, and enjoy these experiences that make up what our day-to-day looks like.
That's everything you're saying, and that this is such a powerful message to businesses. It's just what I'm hearing is that the disability community, there's great value within the disability community, not only to contributing to the world, but also being a customer to you and being able to open your doors, respect, and understand that this is also a valued customer, to be able to take care of and make them feel like that they're a part and welcomed. I love that. Tina, what message would you also share with business owners about people with disabilities?
There's a great quote that I like, and it says that diversity is like being invited to the party. Inclusion is being asked to dance. I love that quote, and I would say to businesses that they shouldn't be afraid to reach out to the resources that they have in the community, to have that willingness to make a change, to make sure that when they say they're inclusive, that they're accessible, that they truly are.
I'm going to borrow that quote later on. That is a fantastic quote.
I can't take credit for it, but I love that. And I think that really is just a great example of where the community may think they are, but then let's go one step further. Let's ask them to dance. And what does that mean? And not be afraid to make those changes.
I'd love to end on a last question, a fun question. And that is, if you could talk to anybody in the world, who would that be and why? Stasha, I want to start with you.
All right. I feel like my answer to this could change given the week or my mood. But one person that rises to the top for me pretty consistently is Simon Sinek. He is a thought leader that I follow pretty closely in the realm of leadership, and not just from a professional corporate sense of leadership, but he really talks a lot about the value of leading from your purpose, leading from your passions, and leading from the seat you have, and then also inviting people to sit with you. And I think that I'm certainly condensing a lot of theories that he's put out into the world, but I think that resonates with me a lot because it is such a healthy and much needed message that we all have purpose and we all have passion, and we need to feel empowered to live in that purpose and that passion and make a difference in that space. And connecting it even back to this conversation, being inclusive, that's where it starts, is not only valuing your own passion and purpose, but recognizing and valuing others' passion and purposes. So I think meeting and conversating with him would just be fascinating.
I am recognizing and enjoying everything that both of you are sharing with me today. So I'm learning so much and feeling more and more empowered. Thank you, Stasha. Tina, we're going to end on you. Tell us who you would want to speak with.
Oh, that's a really tough question to ask. I think someone or maybe a group of people that I would really love to talk more with, and that are the folks that were really had that passion and that perseverance that came together that resulted in the ADA coming together. I love hearing those stories. I love that movie, Crip Camp. I love hearing about their passion for wanting to stand up for their rights. And I would love to just sit down and have a conversation with them and just hear more of those stories and what was driving them, because they were not being accepted, but they never gave up. And I love what they've done, the impact of their actions.
Well, it's so true. The disability rights movement that went on in the 70s, 80s, 90s, and transformed into the ADA has changed life for people with disabilities. I know when I had my injury 17 years ago, without the ADA, I would not have access and opportunity to everything that I have today. And the fight still continues. The disability rights movement, there's so much more to be done. And it's the advocates today, empowered by the advocates yesterday, that we're going to keep moving forward together. And I live in the Washington, D.C. area, and I love wheeling down the street. I get to turn a few heads while wheeling down the street. But if I wheel with 10 of my friends in wheelchairs, everybody's turning their head because that small army makes some noise. And it's our wheels, our voices can be heard. But thank you so much for sharing both of your time and your energy and your empowerment today with this Spotlight series. So thank you so much. And I wish both of you a beautiful rest of your day, okay?
Thanks, Josh.
Thank you very much, Josh.